listen up, pal. There's big news coming out of Paradise today. We've got updates that'll make every Celtic heart beat a bit faster, from a surprise international comeback to a massive injury boost that could change everything for Brendan Rodgers' plans. But let me tell you, that last story, it's the one you need to hear. Big shout out to everyone who's been commenting and showing love on the channel. You're absolute legends. These were my top commenters from last week. James Brooks, always dropping brilliant comments. Cheers, mate. Robert C. Eshel, thanks for the support and for joining the convo. Billy Noon, I appreciate you for jumping in and backing the channel. You lot smashed it last week. Who's going to make it onto next week's list then, eh? Don't forget to leave your comments. We have 6 news a day to keep you updated with the mighty Celtic. Hit that subscribe button and be part of it. Here's one that'll cheer you up a wee bit. After all the injuries and nonsense lately, Sebastian Tounekti's been spotted back training with Tunisia. And thank the heavens for that, because for a moment it looked like we'd lost another one to the physio room. You know how it goes. One knock, and suddenly it's a list longer than the queue for a pint on match day at Paradise. But this time, it's good news for Brendan Rodgers. And for us, the lad's back in the mix and he's looking sharp again. He'd missed Tunisia's last World Cup qualifier and folk were fearing the worst, but turns out it was just a wee scare. He's been back in full training ahead of their next game against Namibia, though honestly, I wouldn't mind if they wrapped him in bubble wrap till he's back in Glasgow. We've got bigger fish to fry here than him getting another cap, but I'll tell you what, the boys earned that recognition. Only 3 appearances for Tunisia so far, but everyone's expecting him to shine in the Africa Cup of Nations. Mind you, that'll mean missing a few games for us. Typical, eh? Always our luck. Still, you can't deny he's been one of the few bright sparks this season. That debut against Kilmarnock, electric, man of the match. Then he goes and bags one against Partick Thistle in the cup, like he's been playing for Celtic for years. There's something about the lad. He's got that fearless edge, the kind you need to play under the lights at Paradise. He's the type that gets the ball, looks up, and you can feel the whole stadium hold its breath, waiting for something to happen. It's pure magic when he's in form. The only problem? A wee dip lately, maybe confidence, maybe fatigue, who knows? But let's be honest, he's still miles ahead of half the dross we've seen this season. Rodgers will be desperate to get him back firing, especially with the fixture list piling up like the rain clouds over Suckyhole Street. If Tounekti can rediscover that early season spark, it could be the difference between us pulling away or letting those lot across the city start dreaming again, and we can't be having that. So here's my question for you, mate. Should Tounekti be our nailed-on starter on the wing when he's fit again, or do you reckon Rodgers needs to ease him back slowly? Because I'll tell you, with his pace and flair, I can't see anyone else offering that same spark out wide. Hit that subscribe button. Ladders, let's giant loudy till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic daffs. Now this, my friend, is the kind of news that puts a proper smile on your face. Alistair Johnston is finally back in training. That's right. The Canadian Warriors back at Lennoxtown after nearly 2 months out with that hamstring tear. You'll mind it. That horror moment in the Champions League playoff against Kairat Almaty when he went down, and you could practically hear every Celtic fan in the world groan at once. Stretch it off, it looked bad, and let's be honest, we've missed him more than a pint on a Sunday morning. 9 games. 9 long games without that right flank fortress. The lad's been sorely missed, not just his tackling, but his drive, his passion, the way he bombs up and down the line like he's running on pure adrenaline and caffeine. And here's the thing, he's back ahead of schedule. That's not just good news, that's a miracle in itself. You know what that means, right? Rodgers has got a big call to make ahead of the weekend's game against Dundee at Dens Park. Does he throw him straight in or give him another wee rest? And let's be honest, the timing couldn't be better. The Premiership's back after the break. Hearts are still sitting smug up top, and we need every bit of momentum to knock them off their perch. And then we've got Sturm Graz coming to Parkhead next Thursday, a massive European night under the lights, followed by a trip to Tynecastle against those noisy Jambos on the 26th. It's going to be chaos, but with Johnston back, we've got one of our key men ready for battle. Now, you've got to love the man's mentality. He's the type who'd probably try to play with one leg if you let him. He gives everything every time he steps onto that pitch. Pure Celtic blood through and through. You can't teach that. He's not the flashiest, not the one doing fancy flicks, but he's the kind of player you go to war with. And I'll tell you what, when he's fit, that whole back line just feels steadier. But here's a wee thought for you. With Johnston back earlier than expected, should Rodgers risk him straight away against Dundee or play it safe and save him for the European clash under the lights at Paradise? Because I'll be honest, mate, I'd love to see him back tearing down that wing, even if it's just for a cameo. We've missed that bite, that fire. And with Hearts looking over their shoulders, there's no better time for our Canadian powerhouse to come roaring back. Hit that subscribe button, lads. Let's giant loldy till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic duffs. Now here's something to cheer ye right up. Marcelo Saracchi's gone and done himself proud again on the international stage. The lad played a full 90 minutes for Uruguay in a tight wee 2-1 win over Uzbekistan in Malaysia. And let me tell you, it's exactly the kind of news Brendan Rodgers will be smiling about back at Lennoxtown. You love to see it. One of our own flying the flag abroad and coming back fit, sharp, and ready to get stuck in for Celtic. Saracchi's been quietly building himself into a right proper player since coming in on loan. Aye, he's not the one always stealing the headlines like some daft Rangers signing that turns out to be slower than a bus up Sucky Hall Street. But this boy's graft is pure class. Solid, clever, composed, everything you want from a fullback in green and white. Against Uzbekistan, he didn't just turn up for a kickabout. Oh no. He was switched on the whole game, driving forward, defending well, and showing that Bielsa-style aggression that suits him to a T. Now, there was a wee bit of talk before the game. Would he captain Uruguay again, like he did against the Dominican Republic? Turns out Bielsa handed the armband to Santiago Bueno this time, the Wolves defender. But listen, that's no snub. Bielsa loves a rotation, and you can tell Saracchi's firmly in his plans. He's starting back-to-back games. That's a manager's trust right there. And to captain your country even once, that's a dream few can claim. Not bad for a lad who's only been in Glasgow a short while, eh? From a Celtic perspective, though, this is the best bit. The boys come through 2 international games without a scratch. That's gold dust, especially when you've got a fixture list as mad as ours coming up. Rodgers will be buzzing, knowing Saracchi's coming back, match fit and match sharp, ready for action. With the league race heating up and Europe on the horizon, having a fullback in form could make a massive difference. Massive. Saracchi's got that South American fire that Glasgow folk love. A bit of bite, a bit of swagger, and a whole lot of heart. You can see why Rodgers rates him. Every time he plays, you get the sense that he's desperate to prove he belongs in the Celtic shirt. Not just as a loanee, but as a player who bleeds for the cause. So here's one for you to chew on, pal. If Saracchi keeps up this level of performance for both club and country, should Celtic make his move permanent? Or do you think Rodgers should keep his eyes on other targets come summer? Let me know, because this lad's playing like someone who's desperate to stay in paradise. For good, hit that subscribe button, lads. Let's jay it loudy till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic dafts.